Hello, chat. How we doing?
Hello.
How we doing? Let me turn the volume for the music down a skosh. Is it too quiet? I feel like that's too quiet. Is it even picking up anymore? It's like barely picking up. Let me turn it down on my end. I think opera is just really loud. Oh wait, Firefox, I'm an idiot. It's not Opera. There you go. How we doing, guys? Everybody doing well? Let's start from the top. Wildcard, first to check. Congratulations, good job, good job. Also, being an early goblin and getting your loot, good job, good job. Boomy coming in and getting the specialist little goblin in the whole wide stream. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Ooh, woo, ooh, woo. Boomy note. Also, thank you for being an early goblin and getting your loot. Mikey, Bobikey, thank you for being an early goblin and getting your loot. Raven, getting in here, getting early and being an early goblin and getting your loot. Welcome in. Welcome in. Remy. Also, thank you so much for being an early goblin and getting your loot. How we all doing, huh? Huh? What do we got?
Who, us in the call? Or them?
Well, everybody. I want everybody to tell me what they're up to right now. You got to. Raven, thank you for being
I'm doing
first.
this in building.
And I'm eating.
I have issues.
Food.
And Sweets has started me down my path of Minecraft addiction again.
Let's see. Chewy, thank you for being not first. Chewy, also thank you for redeeming Hippity Hoppity. Chewy, no. Chewy the Gamba. The hostage ads. Yeah, we're not doing Gamba tonight. I'm fucking tired. That's such a... Hashtag blame Zix. Remy, what's the aura? I feel like my auras are bad though. I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, good night, Chewy.
Yeah. Have a good night, Chewy, if you're still here. Aura. There you go. Enjoy. Mario. Thumbs up. Chop gob.
I feel like every now and then, because you're a goblin, you need to hit him with a very gremlin ada. Oh, did you know that cut out for the most part? This part.
I'm pretty sure they caught all of it, unfortunately.
Rip the mic.
Edit. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm pretty sure most people here do, but we do have some newer people. I have been playing tabletop RPGs over half my life. Well, I guess actually not. Almost exactly half my life. Oh no, it'd be over half my life. It's 17 years. I've been playing for like 17. Yeah, 17. No, wait. I'm bad at math. 19 years.
15 is down of 30. Consider that.
Yeah, it'd be... Well, no. That was... Yeah, it'd be 19, because I was 14 when I started. And I'm 33 now. Well, it wouldn't be 19 yet. Or no. Yeah, it wouldn't be 19 yet. It'd be 19, like, in the next couple of months. Because I started my freshman year of high school. and I was, I think, 14 in my freshman year. The brain cell's working, that's for sure, at least trying to. Now that I ain't fighting for my life in the abyss. Hi, wildcard. Monolith defense. Oh god, fuck yeah, that's awful. I hate the monolith abyss. Why is it so bad in the abyss? Anyway, I've been playing for 19 years, basically, almost 2 decades. And I've been a DM for like most of that time, right? I would say I don't think I really DM'd too much my first like 3 or 4 years of playing. I like co-DM'd a couple of times and like helped my DM do some stuff, but like I mostly played the first couple of years, and then I started DMing, and then I became a forever DM, and yeah. Oh, true luck! I gotta go into Hyrule Castle for the first time since Breath of the Wild.
Good luck.
Good luck.
I haven't even done that.
But yeah, I love tabletop RPGs. 3.5 was my favorite. 5th edition has come, and it's just so much more accessible for people, and it's much more player friendly. Hi! And the learning curve is like really friendly. And so like... First, thank you for being not first. While I don't think 5th edition is the best, I don't even know how to phrase it. It's not my favorite, and I think it's lacking in certain areas, but because of how player friendly and user friendly and like new friendly it is to the game, I think it's arguably the best, right? Like Chris, for example, you are very new to D&D, right?
Yep. I'm a D&D baby.
Yeah, but like for the most part, would you say that it's been pretty easy to get into?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of stuff that you don't like know because like you haven't got it memorized and you just haven't played a million times, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like even as you've done some stuff as a druid, right?
Yeah.
And realistically, when you think about it, we've had only a handful of sessions, right? Like,
yeah.
Like in all actuality, it's probably been, I mean, maybe a few dozen sessions, if that, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it hasn't been a lot because we don't meet every week, but we're getting into a point where we're meeting every week or more consistently, right? But for a long time, it was literally like once a month, right? But even then, you ate my eye patch, how dare you? TTRPG is tabletop RPG. So like Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder and Cyberpunk and the Dresden Files, Call of Cthulhu, all of those board games. It's an RPG that's a board game rather than a video game. The most famous one is definitely Dungeons and Dragons. Nerd thing, understandable. Damn. But yeah, like even with like your limited experience, there's still things that you're picking up, right? Like you have a general idea, like when we're talking about stuff, right? Even if it's stuff that you don't necessarily know in depth about, you're starting to pick up like the lexicon and like the language and all that, right? Like
when you guys were talking about bugbears and stuff, I'm like, yeah, I remember what a bugbear is.
Yeah, I remember what a bugbear is. Like,
yeah, I gotta start small, you guys. There's, especially during the first campaign we did, I was like, do I know what this is?
What's D&D
And if
Smile?
so,
It's
can you
Dungeons and
tell me?
Dragons.
He knows what it is. Look at that
I know.
face.
I know. And like you're even starting to get into the thing of like Moonbeam, right? Like
Yeah.
you're starting to understand like there's ideal ways to use Moonbeam, right? Like you can kind of be janky with it. You're starting to understand like, oh, how do I like manage my resources with like wild shape and spell slots and stuff, right? And so 5th edition I think is very user friendly. But it is so user friendly to a point that I think that it's gotten kind of dumb. Like they kind of dumb D&D down a little bit too much, you know?
But just so chat understands what you mean by the Moonbeam thing specifically, I have learned since the first campaign that I can take Moonbeam, swing it off of the stationary target, then swing it back on to inflict more damage.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, I have a pretty good understanding of how tabletop RPGs work, and there's some qualms and limitations that I have with D&D. And I've always just kind of wanted to do my own tabletop system. I think it's a fun idea. And so I thought we could, over the course of time, work on some ideas and workshop some things and talk some things out. And, you know, just have like chill whatever streams, right? Just kind of hanging out, grooving, and talk over ideas, workshop ideas, yada, yada, yada. And as a community, sort of make a tabletop game from the ground up and maybe even play test it as a community. Like, as we get, like, versions done, I could release PDFs of the stuff on the Discord. And, like, if you guys want to go get your friend groups IRL and play the games. Hi, Dem.
Dem.
Hey, Dem.
How doing? But yeah, like if you guys wanted to get the PDFs and have a copy of the rulebook yourself and like play test it until we finalize it, and then who knows, maybe we actually like get it published. Like that'd be kind of cool, right? How do I, if we get it published though, how do I credit chat for their contribution? Do I just have chat credited and just produced by Zix? Assistant produced by chat. Do
you think chat? Would you be happy with that?
Would you be happy with an attribution to chat? If we get it published? That's I don't know if we would ever get it published, but hi Val. Where Deadbeat Redeem? Is Deadbeat Redeem off right now?
You might have turned it off because you were using PNG for a while.
Hi, Gaia.
See, I told you Gaia was joining.
Is it? It is off. Why is it off? If someone wants to, they can turn it back on. You've got people who've got privileges, right? Oh, I hate the mobile Twitch thing. Alright. So it was off for multiple streams, yeah. I'm kind of iffy about it. I think I'll leave it off for this stream just because of the vibe we're going for with this stream. It'll be back on next stream. Someone remind me.
I'll forget.
Gaia, message me right now because I won't have Discord open, and so I won't see the message. So it'll, whenever I close stuff, I'll see that message and I'll reopen it. Can you just shoot me a message?
What? Am I sending you?
Just send me a message that says turn shrimp mode back on.
Okay.
Because I won't
Yeah.
see it until after stream, so I'll know to turn it back on.
Yeah, but considered Gaia just got here and Gaia's like, what?
My bad. Alright.
Done.
Thanks, homie.
In other
I'm
news, I came back to my room to a respawn
dead
screen. Yeah.
A zombie villager killed you.
I saw.
It's rough, homie. I'm streaming the screen to you guys, right? You guys see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is TTRPG. Name TBD. Let's go over our goals or things we want to include. We're gonna go with obviously stat system, action economy, classes, races slash species. Nope, that's not how you spell that. How do you spell species?
It's an E first, no I. In the first one, there's no I. And there you
There
go.
it is. There it is.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm dyslexic. What's a TTRPG? Tabletop RPG. So like D&D, like Dungeons and Dragons, the Dresden Files, Pathfinder, fucking Call of Cthulhu, Cyberpunk.
Here,
all those
I
things.
know how to get to them. You know the muffins? It's like the muffins.
The muffins.
It's like what the muffins are from.
Oh
Sweetie.
yeah. Yeah,
Yo.
the muffins thing that Sweets does, that is based off of some things from D&D, which is a tabletop RPG. Weapons, perhaps? Spells. Setting up a Call of Cthulhu one-shot. Bare bones, is there anything that I'm really missing here? For like a functional tabletop RPG? Stat system,
Hmm.
action economy, classes, weapon species, or races, species, weapons, spells. Oh, the genre, it takes imagination to be fun, which I lack. It doesn't actually take a whole lot of imagination to be fun.
It takes a decent amount of buy-in.
Yeah,
Gonna decide that.
yeah, that's
Boom.
the thing. You gotta full send it. Like that's how it's the most fun. Is it's like, even if you're like not familiar with it, it's just like you can sit down at the table and you're like, all right, I'm here. Let's have fun. Like, let's go. Like, and that's really all it takes. The Call of TTRPG summoned me. What system you thinking of running with? So D&D has some good base work. There's certain things that I don't like about D&D. Yeah, you're building one. Yeah. All right. So here's the next thing. Things we wanna. How do I put this? Because I don't want this to come off as like I'm trying to make better D&D, because I don't want to make D&D. Because if I wanted to make better D&D, I would just homebrew for D&D, right? Like, but
which you've done.
But there are specific things from D&D that I don't like, that I want to keep in mind for not having in here, right? So like, do I just put it as things we don't like?
Yeah.
Things we don't. That doesn't. Things things we want to avoid. I think that's a good one.
Mhm.
Things we want to avoid. So the first thing that comes to mind is the caster martial divide. One of the biggest problems in D&D is that mid to late game martial classes are bordering on being castrated. Like if you have 2 marshals and 2 casters in your party and you hit like level 20, a lot of the fun that the marshals are going to have is just going to be gutted. Unless you give them like insanely busted magic items and like absolutely bananas feats, but then don't give the casters that same level of loot, right? Like casters are like at the end of the day and this is coming from someone who loves playing martial classes, right? My favorite classes in the game are monk and barbarian, but the casters are just better, right? So we want to get rid of the caster martial class divide, right? Clunky action economy.
You're talking about Paladin wildcard? Paladin got a rough hand.
Yeah,
in the 2024 rules.
Paladin and Rogue both are. Oh, Ranger. Oh,
Ranger?
yeah.
Yeah, Ranger
the
probably had it the
opinion
worst.
That if casters buff marshals to high hell, marshals are unstoppable. But that's it. No, but you're right. But again, in that instance, the caster's doing most of the lifting, right? Like if you didn't have that caster, the marshal wouldn't stand up. Like that's the problem. Because even with that caveat, the caster there is still doing the lifting for the marshal. The marshal needs to be able to stand alone and be on equal footing with the caster, and it's just not. Like the caster, the marshal can compete with a caster if the caster buffs the marshal. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying is for the purpose of game balance, I think that in a vacuum, these two things need to be as fun to play as the other things are. And by fun, let me rephrase that. I don't want to say fun, because I think Barbarian and Monk are hella fun, right? Mm-hmm. They need to feel good to play. And the truth of the matter is that in D&D, especially at higher levels, playing Barbarian, playing Fighter, playing Monk, sometimes just kind of it doesn't feel good. Like, it just does not feel rewarding. Early game, it feels great, right? Like, levels 1 through, like, 8 to 9, fantastic. Once you get to 10 and up, it's a caster game.
Which is why my preferred way to play is Mercenary Marshal with a little bit of magic.
Yeah.
Like Liarn.
Mm-hmm. So the next thing that we kind of want to avoid is the clunky action economy. Now, what I mean by that is in D&D 5th edition, you have essentially your main action, your bonus action, a free action, your movement speed, and then reactions. And that's basically it, right? Main actions are usually things like attacking, casting major spells, things of that nature. Bonus actions, 0. Bonus actions are usually stuff like side effects, right? Like side things, like Barbarian, rather than sacrificing his attack, he can use a bonus action and go into rage, right?
Mhm.
I'll be back for you later. Wait, what? Okay. Rogues get a special thing where they can hide as a bonus action. Certain spells
They
that are like
can-
lesser spells can do like
Well,
like-
rogues can hide, disengage, or dash.
Or dash,
as a
yeah.
bonus action.
But like a really good example of this is the Barbarian, right? The Barbarian, one of the biggest problems with some of the Barbarian subclasses is they have too many things competing for bonus action use, right? Like, and so they can't do all the things that they want to do in a turn, right? With casters, vanilla rules, if you cast a leveled spell as a bonus action, you cannot cast a leveled spell as your main action. You can only and vice versa, right? If you do one, you can only cast one spell a turn and a cantrip, right? And so like I think that's kind of dumb. I think that if a spell says it's a bonus action, you should be able to use it as a bonus action. Like if you have the action economy open, you should be able to use it. My truest will, which is I think I have some ideas for clunky action economy and ways that it could work. But that's the next thing. Like, so that's not necessarily something that like we want to work on or like we don't want to include, but it's something that like is a problem with D&D and needs to be tweaked. We need to do something different. Let's see. Is there anything else that I like really, really want to avoid? That what are they? Mad classes, I think, is one that's really bad with D&D. Mad classes, for those of you that don't know, are multiple attribute dependent classes. Every class in D&D has a power stat and then usually like a secondary stat. But then a few classes have a bunch of stats that are required. One of the best examples that I can think of is Fighter when you go Eldritch Knight. Because Eldritch Knight requires you to have a good strength. You probably want to have a decent dexterity, and you have to have a good constitution, right? But because of the way Eldritch Knight's casting works, you also have to have a high intelligence. So this is a class that requires 4 out of your 6 stats to be really good. I've always known it as multiple ability disorder. Me always dumping strength in favor of dex weaponry. Yeah, but like, if you want to be a sword and board Eldritch Knight, you have to go strength, or else it's just not gonna work, you know? And so we want to make sure that when we're designing the classes, we don't have a class that requires you to be too good at too many things, right? Do we want to? I don't know. How do I put this? Species feeling copy or feeling like skins. A problem, and this isn't as much of a problem in D&D 5e right now because of the variety that we have. It's kind of becoming a problem in 5e because some of the updates that they've done in the rules, but it's going to be a major problem in D&D 1 where every race, it basically doesn't matter what your race is, right? Like what your species is. And I think that you should, like, it should determine certain features about you to a certain extent, right? I do like in D&D 1 how your skill points are tied to your background. I actually really do like that. I think it's cool because then you can make a custom background and like really tweak and modify your character the way that you want it, right? But I do think that each race could have some inborn traits that it or no other race has, or like only races that are like closely tied to it, right? So like, I don't know, dwarves having some sort of like constitution resiliency buff, right? Like, let them have that. Orcs having like maybe an innate rage mechanic or something, you know? Like, there's any number of things you could do. Hi, Walkard.
Hello. My Twitch broke.
Eat.
Uh,
The good thing with fighter is the massive martial proficiency lets it favor strength or dexterity unless you get funny. Yeah. Yeah. That's the... Fighters are really good because you can pick strength or dex, which is why like I think that they like a fighter's stats are strength or they are strength or dex with an asterisk by whichever one you don't choose, and constitution, right? Like you have to top out one of them, and you have to top out constitution, and you probably want the other one to be good too, right? Like for the fighter to function like as a fighter, right? So like even like a bowman, right? Like if you're doing like an archer fighter, which is a lot of fun. I've played archer fighters. They're a lot of fun, right? But even as an archer fighter, it's really nice to have that like decent strength, right? Like to be able to, like, and it also just like makes sense because like archers are shredded as hell, dude. Like anyway, I think this is probably good of things we want to avoid. Is there anything else that like you guys can think of from D&D that like, and I know that Chris is a lot newer. Mikey, Mikey, I don't know how much D&D you've been involved with at all. Wildcard, what?
I haven't finished one. I mean, I was in one, but I never finished it.
Common D&D problems: fail a roll and do nothing. Exception-based design: only do something if we say you can. Trap choices, feat tax, item treadmill, and ingrained assumptions. What do you mean item treadmill and ingrained assumptions? That's one that I want to know. What do you mean by that?
Are you talking about like how some people want like to get items constantly? Because that's what it sounds like.
I think the expectation that you're just gonna keep getting new items.
That's fair. What does mad classes mean? Here, I'll...
Multi-attribute dependent.
Yeah, put it in the actual description.
Yeah. It's a multi-attribute dependent. It is a class in which you have to have a bunch of really good stats for the class to function the way it's intended. I think Eldritch Knight's a really good example of it. I think probably the two, weirdly enough, as much as I love them, the two best examples of it, just base level, like right off the rip, are probably Monk and Barbarian. You have
There we
to
go.
upgrade
I'm
items as
Treadmill.
you level up, as well as have best in slot. Less troublesome in 5e is the game is built in such a way that you aren't actually required to give people magic items. Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that I've always looked at is like the potential of players being able to make their own magic items as a thing. And like, rather than having magic items out in the world as commonly, let it be a thing that the players get to make, right? And maybe even make that a class feature.
That's kind of
Artificer.
yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
Artifice thing. But with my campaign I'm planning on running, a big aspect of that is there are things in the world that have inherent elemental energy. You beat them, you get materials from them, and you can use that to make your own stuff, your own magic items.
Yeah, I agree with that, Cheshire. I get what you're saying. Yeah, it is best to come to a table with a blank slate. Unfortunately, there's not a lot that a game dev can do to prevent that. Because that just kind of happens with the culture of a game, unfortunately.
Yeah. That's why Session Zeros are good for TTRPGs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very much on the players. It comes down to the table to everyone there to be like, hey, this is what the game's going to be like.
But something that we can do while we're making this is keep that in mind. And so as part of the development of stuff, encourage those session zeros and like maybe even lay out a thing of like, these are the things you need to discuss in a session zero. And here's how you're set, like basically set up an outline for GMs to have as a session zero, right? Like, hey, ask these sorts of questions. Like, set these things up. I think this is pretty much the main things. Especially if there's something your system really needs outlined for players to play your game. That should be exemplified. Exactly. So, oh, wait. No. I know one last thing that I want to include. Commoners not mattering.
Yeah.
One of the biggest irks that I have in D&D is like, how do I articulate this? How much better player characters are from NPCs. And don't get me wrong, they should be, right? They certainly should be. But a level 1 character should not be leaps and leaps and leaps and bounds better than just your average Joe Schmo, right? The parallel that I've always looked at is I think what 11th level characters are to Justice League versus Nobody. Well, you see, with 11 levels, I'm more okay with that, right? I am okay, especially in a 20 level system, right? I'm okay with it. It's specifically like level 1 to 5 that I have a huge problem with, right? I think that most average character or most average commoners and stuff could essentially be level 1 characters without class abilities. You know what I mean? Like, because they're just dudes, right? They're just dudes. And then, like, some of those commoners could be level one guys. Like, you know, maybe, I don't know, like police officers or something, like town guard, like that sort of thing. Like, yeah, he's a level 1 fighter, right? Like, that's just a guy, right? He's had some training, he's done some stuff, but he hasn't, like, gone crazy, right? But, like, in D&D, this is not a joke, in D&D, a commoner can be killed by a single crab. Like, just dead. Like, a single crab in D&D, like the crab stat block, can walk up to a commoner, pinch him, and kill him immediately. Like, it's insane.
Do you know what I have to say about that? The first thing that
What?
came to mind? Mud crabs.
Mud crabs?
Yeah, mud crabs.
Like, even that, like, a mud crab's not gonna kill you one pinch. It's gonna hurt like
No, but I'm
Right?
saying, like, it's mud crabs don't care though. I'm just saying, like, that's all I can think of is how you'll be the baddest thing around, and a mud crab will just walk up to you and go pinch, pinch,
pinch, pinch.
pinch, pinch.
Hey, level 1 wizards back in 3 could be dead to a crit from a cat. Watch it happen. That is true.
Oh,
Will crustacean be upon thee?
Should be upon you.
So whenever we're making this system, whatever stat system we decide to go with, I think that the commoner stat block that we give stuff is going to be based off of, like, average characters at level 1.
Makes sense.
Because the way that I've always pictured, like, the way a player character should be at level 1 is, like...
You're just an average dude.
Well, no, you're above average. You're distinctly above average, right? But, like, the thing that I would compare it to is, like, your high school football star. You're, like, the quarterback who went all-state and, like, broke some state records and shit, right? So, like, you're an exceptional individual. You're really good at what you do, but you're a big fish in a small pond kind of situation, right? Versus you're not an Olympic athlete. You know what I mean? Like, you're not that special. You are special, but not that special. And then as you level up, you become Olympic athlete, and then eventually you become a demigod. You know, like that's the threshold in my mind, right? I'll say that Pathfinder's 1E has NPC classes that can advance, thus giving them more ability, but not as much as equivalent PC class. 5E gave some
does
NPC
have
stat
a
blocks, but not advancement rules to them.
So D&D does enter the Dungeon Masters Guild did release a set of rules that has follower mechanics.
Yeah,
and they do have progression.
There's also the official sidekick mechanics.
Sidekicks, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, because I've glanced at the sidekick stuff, right? And I think that that's more in line with what, like, commoners should be. You know what I mean? Because it's like, they're not as good as player characters. They're distinctly not as good, right? But they're not getting killed by a crab when it pinches them one time. You know what I mean? Like, they're not immediately dying if their cat scratches their face.
Bruh. In real life, though, you do feel like you're dying.
Oh no, folks.
Oh, no, Farks. You've shot that skeleton, just so you know.
So things... I think that we're good on things we want to avoid and things we want to have.
Yeah.
So, where do we start? Do we start with the stat system?
Yeah, what will be considered the backbone of a
skill issue?
TTRPG.
I feel like these are the two backbones, is stat and action economy.
Yeah, it's how do you interact with the game?
Yeah.
And in that case, action economy is kind of more important. Games should be
Yeah.
mechanics first.
Yeah. So stats. So what genre of tabletop RPG is this going to be?
Probably action adventure.
Yeah. Yeah. I would like my ambition would be to set it in a modern fantasy / like sci fantasy setting, right?
Oh, that would actually be really fun.
By default, but by leaving enough wiggle room for the DMs that if they want to can reflavor it back to like more traditional fantasy, right? And so leaving it like with enough wiggle room to where like all of the technology stuff can be attributed to like hex tech, right? Like it's like, oh, they're golems instead of androids, right? Like that sort of thing. So I think that's kind of the genre setting we're going for. So stats. Let's start with stats. So in D&D, there's 6 stats. Strength. Wow. Strength.
Strength,
Dex,
dexterity,
con,
constitution,
charisma.
Wisdom
Intelligence,
and
And whiz. Yeah. And then each of these governs skills. So I think you kind of have to keep that same framework in that whatever your major attributes are, they govern your skill set, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, because like one of my initial ideas was what if we separated those things, right? So it's like, oh, you're doing these things, but like that doesn't really make sense, right? Like, but also we want to clean that up. I think it's really bizarre that religion is like an int check rather than a wisdom check in D&D, right?
Yeah, so I've always understood it as
you're recalling the information
check.
about the religious texts, essentially.
Yeah, it's knowing facts about the religion, not
but
how religious you are.
So my retort to that would be, then that should go under history, and they should have a spirituality check.
That's
or
fair.
Like, and like that's what I mean. Is so we kind of want to things we want to change, things we want to avoid. Murky skill assignments. Part of me also wants to like reduce some of these things, right? Like, do we need 6 stats? And I don't think we do.
I think at the very least 4.
I think 4. That's the number that kind of like I
Also
think
BR.
of, right? BRB is what you're saying. Stat domains. So we need one, like, strength, dex, con, charisma, intelligence, wisdom, gumption, chutzpah, moxie, reverence, aptitude, a certain je ne sais quoi. I feel like part of me wants to merge strength and constitution.
You could alternatively merge strength and dex into one as well.
Yeah.
Like
body or some such. That's what I was thinking. Body. I know that one in the previous edition I had the stats of body, mind, soul, and personality were the 4 governing stats. Personality, fortitude, mentality, social, which is what this would be, right? Like
pretty much.
Yeah, you have body in how you interact physically with the world. You have the mind, how you engage intellectually with the world. You have soul, which is like your spiritualism. This would also probably be tied more to magic, right? Like, mind would be more technology, soul would be more magic, right? And then personality is like just your force of personality, your charisma, and all of that, right? I came up with this a long time ago for these 4 in the first draft of stuff that I did, and I still really like these 4 as the thing.
You know, they're a good solid mix.
And so BMSP. Yeah. So then it comes down to skills. We're gonna go boop.
Also, it's gonna be really funny to do give me a body check, and then and then your player just tackles you across the table.
Okay. All right. Body governs the following. Mind governs being lazy today, folks.
I was literally just about to tell you to do that.
Soul governs the following. Okay. So I think we have a strength check, right? Like, rather than having strength as a stat, strength is a skill, right? Within the body stat. Because body overall represents how physically fit you might be, and people are going to choose proficiencies with skills, and that's how they'll determine if they're an agile fighter or a muscle-bound fighter, right? For example. So, strength... dexterity. We're gonna call it constitution because it's just a good word. Strength, dexterity, constitution. Stamina, I think, would probably be a reasonable one to have here. Right? Like,
yeah.
Not how much punishment you could take, but like how long you can do a task, right? Thinking physicality is how the body moves and acts. Fortitude is the body or mind's ability to resist and maintain. Mentality is the ability to learn, stay and retain. Social is the ability to handle and present themselves to others. That's true. Strength, dexterity, constitution, stamina. And I feel like dexterity covers a lot of stuff. Like, dexterity can cover like sleight of hand. Like, dexterity can cover like acrobatics and things like that, right? I have to check back on the VOD and see what you came up with. Godspeed, Godfather. Thank you, sir. You can't see, but I saluted you back.
No, we could tell. We could tell.
You can tell. You heard it. You heard the salute.
Yeah.
I really like the idea of each stat governing 5 skills, right? Let me rephrase that. I think 5 is a good number, and whatever number the stat lands on, I think every stat needs to govern the same number of skills, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And 5 just seems like a strong number. Strength, dexterity, constitution, stamina. What would be like a 5th thing that would like physically... Hear me out? Senses? So like your perception, like how you perceive the world, your eyesight, your hearing, your... Like, it's literally affected by your physicality, right? Your sense of touch, taste, sight, your 5 senses.
It's tough, because a lot of that does come down to the mind.
Yeah.
It does. But I would argue... it's more of the body, and what your mind is doing is interpreting what you're sensing, right? But like actually tasting the thing, seeing the thing, hearing the thing, your body does that before your brain can process it, you know? It's the same, like, it's the reason why we have like fast twitch reactions, right? Like,
yeah.
Your eyes recognize a threat before your brain can send a signal, and your body reacts, right? Like, you're not thinking about doing that, your body does it for you, you know? And that's why, like, I think that's what it's addressing, is like that primal, like, okay, this is what it is. I'd also argue that it's more of the body. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, and that's my reasoning for it, right? Like,
it's one of those things where it's like a lot on both sides, because there's like stuff like synesthesia, which is how the brain blends certain senses.
I can taste purple, for example, right? Like,
exactly, yeah.
What were you saying?
says, how about reaction?
Reaction?
Like reflex? Would that be the
Reflex,
stand?
actually, yeah, reflex. Because I think reflex is distinctly different than dexterity, right?
Yeah.
Dexterity is how nimble you are, how easily you can move about, and all of that. Whereas reaction would be like, how quickly can your body respond to something, right? Like, or how powerfully could your body react to something potentially, right? This is like adrenaline, reflex adrenaline, right? Yo, how sick would an adrenaline check be? That is a thing.
I'm still very happy with the concept of it. All right, I need to do a body check for me, and they just tackle you over the table.
Yeah. Mind governs the following. History. Science.
Yeah. Yeah, if we're taking mind as the stat that's like...
It's your intellect.
Yeah.
Like... Logic, perhaps? Like...
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, a thing that I think would be really good that it's kind of hard for DMs to do, right? In D&D is like, I have a character with 20 intelligence, right? I don't have 20 intelligence. I'm an idiot, right? Can I do a roll to see if my character can figure out what's going on here? You know what I mean? Like, can my character look at the facts that are before him, and is he smart enough to connect A, B, C, and D, right? Like, even if I, as the player, can't.
Struggle playing characters who wouldn't, you know, that just are fundamentally different from the player.
Yeah. Logic. History, science, logic. I would argue that there should be a recall.
Recall? Yep.
Because I think recall is distinctly different than history, right? Because history is like, I have studied this text, I know about this region, like whatever, yada yada yada, right? Recall is, can I remember this thing that someone talked to me about 5 months ago? You know?
Yeah. I do enjoy having for every major stat, having one of those, like a reflex, recall, something that is innately an automatic reaction.
Yeah.
Automatic thing.
Mm-hmm. Does logic replace the investigation? I think logic replaces investigation.
Yeah. Because logic would be deduction.
Deduction, there you go. That's what we want to use. Deduction rather than logic, I think. History, science, deduction, recall.
Seduction?
Deduction, that's personality. What are you saying?
This might be a good place to put sense as well.
Yeah. Wait. I'm dumb. Perception. Because people in D&D already use perception and investigation interchangeably, which they shouldn't do, but they do, because they're so closely related. They might as well be the same thing. Just make them the same thing. So, Perception
Keep it
is
simple.
in this instance will be nope, even better. Analysis.
Oh yeah.
I am taking in information, I am analyzing that information, and I am trying to apply it to something. And so you can use that for logic puzzles, you can use that for looking for traps, you can use that for like analyzing your senses, like what is this thing that I smell, what is this thing that I see, right? I think analysis works really well here. History, science, analysis, recall. Technology? Wow. Fat fingering it. And so technology seems a little similar to science. But what I'm picturing is that science is like the understanding of how something works, right? And
Technology is
like
more the
physics.
application.
And technology is like, oh, I can go interact with this thing, or I can build this thing, or I can hack into this thing and manipulate the thing, right? Science is the theoretical, technology is the application, I think, right?
Yeah.
What if study rather than science? It's a subtle change, and really science is just the study of the world, right? But I think but then that eliminates history, because I think you could umbrella catch history with study. Right? I think if we call it study, you get rid of history. But I think study works better, right? Because study could be history, it could be the arts, it could be the sciences, it could be mathematics, it could be anything, right? It is, do I have the knowledge about this thing that we're doing, right? Study, analysis, technology, recall. So then what would be the fifth thing of the mind?
Boop.
Booping our game.
Or game. True.
Yeah. We
Study,
Brain went blank.
really
If you've
analyze.
defensive stuff that could be considered defensive for the body, something defensive for the mind might be a good idea.
Ooh, focus?
Perfect. Actually, yeah, I was thinking of like a stamina for mind. Focus is perfect for that. The ability
I think
to
that's it.
concentrate on something.
Yeah. No games. Yeah, no game. It's not about D&D. It's about making our own thing that's kind of in the D&D vein. Yeah, we're just chilling and chatting. Leave. That's funny. That's funny. It's okay. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. Soul governs the following. Spirituality. Your connection successful. We're good. We're back. Please hit refresh. There you go. Yeah, please hit refresh if stream lagged for you. Um. So the lag wasn't me. How long was the lag? Hopefully it wasn't too long. For a few seconds, okay. Nature? Question mark. I like the idea of magic being connected to the natural world and technology being connected to the unnatural, right? Like man-made, right? And so I think that soul governing magic and therefore also governing like how you interact with nature also makes sense in this, right?
Yeah.
Nature, and by extension that'd be survival, right? Survival? Wow. Survival. Spirituality, magic, nature. Ooh, what's something else that's just like your soul? Like you feel it in your soul.
Feel it in
Instinct.
their bones.
Instinct?
That is what I said.
Instinct, is that what you said?
Yeah, I was just clarifying.
Okay, so I definitely like the sound of an instinct thing, but like what does that do, right? Is this like the going with your gut, like your gut feeling? Like is
yeah.
An application for instinct.
What?
That would be a good application for it.
Oop. Wisdom? So this one is all about like understanding information. This one is all about how does it work? You know? Like reality. I think that that's how I would explain the difference between these two. Is mind is how you is learning about the world and bending it. Let me rephrase that. How would I phrase this? Learning about reality and figuring out a way to circumvent it, right? Versus soul is learning about reality and how you are a part of it and how to navigate it / bend it. Ooh, wait, hold on. Because I think you could make an argument for instinct being wisdom, right? Will.
And will would make for a good defensive soul stat.
Do we just call it will or willpower?
When it comes to will or willpower, in game terms, they are usually used interchangeably.
Yeah. But what do we think sounds better? I think willpower has a little more oomph to it, right?
Definitely.
As a Call of Cthulhu player, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So personality governs the following. This is where we put all our bard stats.
Yeah. For
Persuasion,
performance,
perception. Let's simplify it, right?
Yep.
Speechcraft. How good are you with words? Can I convince you the truth even though I'm lying to you? Can I scare the hell out of you when I'm talking to you? Or am I able to like inspire you, right? I think that all falls into speechcraft. This is gonna annoy the hell out of me. We're
Mhm.
There you go. Speechcraft. Do we have beauty as a stat? Like, or as like a skill? Beauty, attractiveness, allure, maybe?
That's a good question.
Sensuality?
Mm.
What'd you say? Allure what?
Allure would be a bit more appropriate
Yeah.
than just beauty.
Yeah.
Because allure could go either physically or metaphysically.
Allure, performance, speechcraft, allure. It's interesting because you would think this would be one that would be easy to come up with stuff, right? I think this is one of the harder ones.
Yeah, it is.
Society?
What do you mean?
How do
Like
it
how to behave?
work?
Etiquette? Like
Etiquette.
Is that what you think?
Etiquette would be one. Society might be a broader
doesn't look right.
term.
No. Okay. So take away the one T from the start.
It's two T's at the end.
Yeah, there you go. And it's a QE. QUE. There you go. Etiquette. Fucked up word, but we love it.
Would you say that people who tend to be really good at like wheeling and dealing and manipulating and things like that typically aren't easily manipulated themselves? Because they can identify when they're being manipulated?
Usually.
Wariness? Alertness? Oh, wait. Savvy?
That works.
Because like sort of like wit, right? Like it's just like you're clever, you understand how the game is played, you can't be caught off guard, right? That's your defensive stat.
Yeah, savviness makes sense.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5 in each. That hits the number that we wanted to hit. That's 20 skills in all, which I think is pretty good. Now, is there a scenario in which... This is the big thing. Is there a scenario that we can come up with that would not be covered by one of these checks? And I can't think of one offhand.
I would have to come up through playtesting.
Yeah. I think this covers most things that we could think of on the surface, right?
Yeah.
Like, so your body, we could take it by stat, right? Body. What are things that your body's going to be doing? It's going to be attempting to move things. It's going to be attempting to pick things up. It's going to be attempting to throw things. All these answer all of those things, right? It's going to be attempting to withstand punishment. It's going to be addressed by that. Yeah, I think the same thing with the mind. You're gonna be attempting to understand something. You're gonna be attempting to observe something. You're gonna be attempting to learn or remember something. Soul, same sort of thing, just with a little different of a flavor, right? I really view mind and soul as two sides of the same coin, really, you know?
Yeah.
Body and personality do not have that same sort of thing, I don't think. Well, in some ways they kind of do, right? Like...
Yeah, so mind and soul are things that one can do with on their own.
Mm-hmm.
It's in a bunch of internal factors that, mind and soul are internal. How they interact with the inner
themselves,
self.
yeah.
Body and personality is how you interact with the world.
That's true. I think these are pretty good.
For a first draft, these are great. And that's the sense I'm going to take for a lot of this, is as a first draft.
Decrease indent, damn it. That point. All right, in D&D, 10 is the average, and you have the whole modifier system. This is the question about this is the really nitty gritty about this, right? Is like, how do we want the numbers to matter?
I think if we're gonna do something in like a modern fantasy setting, which is like kind of our world with a few tweaks, I think the best way to set it up would be a 1 to 10 system.
Kind of like what
What'd you
Cyberpunk and Shadowrun have.
What'd you say? Walker, I'm sorry.
Kind of like what Cyberpunk and Shadowrun have for their stat systems.
1 to 10.
It's usually It can be anywhere from 1 to 7, usually with modifiers, depending on race or like Cyberpunk. You give modifiers based on your technology, your drone.
I do actually really like the idea of a scale of 1 to 10, though. So the question I have then is, do we allow people to break the 10? And I think we do, but not naturally.
Yeah.
Like, you have to do it through either modification or, like, some sort of enhancement, either by magic or technology, or, like, with an item or something, right? Scale of 1 to 10, with obviously 5 being the average.
My RBO changes in caps to the stats based on race.
True. Potentially. Oh, I actually kind of like that, because then we could lift the idea from D&D 1 of having stat points related to backgrounds, right? But
yeah,
it would keep the races feeling unique, right? Because, like, if we have orcs, it's like, the orc doesn't give you a bonus to strength necessarily, but it might have your upper threshold of strength is pushed up. I like the modifiers that D&D have, right? But I think it's a little too complicated, and also with this it'd be too big, because it's a 1 to 10 scale rather than the 1 to 20 scale, right?
Right.
So 5 being the average, if you have above a 5, you get a +1 for every point, right? So at 10, you get +5, right? And below 5, or no, 5 you get 0. 6 you get 1, 7 you get 2, 8 you get 3, 9 you get... No, wait. 5 is 0,
9.
6 is... 6 would be 1, 7 would be 2, 8 would be 3, 9 would be 4, and... Yeah, well, that's right. So 10 would be 5, right?
Right.
And then 4 would be -1. 3 would be -2. 2 would be -3. 1 would be -4. 0 would be -5, and also probably dead. Actually, let's go. Let me. I'm gonna cook on this a little bit, right?
I'm gonna let you cook.
5 gives you a +0 to the governed skills. Each point above 5 gives you an additional +1. Each point below 5, that comma doesn't need to be there, gives you an additional -1. Right?
Mm-hmm.
At 0, for each stat, you are afflicted with a condition. Body, mind, soul, personality. I think that for the sake of the two sides of the same coin, we move personality up here. Okay. Cyberpunk is D10 plus stat plus skill. What do you mean?
You roll a d10.
I've never played Cyberpunk, like tabletop wise anyway.
You roll a d10 and then you add the value of your stat and then the value of the stat related to the skill, plus the skill itself.
Oh, I see. Okay. Boop. Boop. Thanks for the boop. I'm so inclined to just be death. Like, is death a condition?
Technically, yeah.
Comatose for mind. Or I guess rather than comatose, catatonic would probably be a better.
Yeah.
Your brain is just literally unable to process information. Immobilized. What's like near death synonym? Hold on. I just learned a new word.
And what is that?
Moribund.
Moribund.
At the
Ooh.
point of death. Because I don't want one of these stats to just outright kill you if they're reduced to 0, right? But this would literally be your body can't move, you can't defend against stuff, like your constitution is through the floor, all of that. I want each of these to be like crippling in a different way, right? Catatonic. Personality is gonna be hard. I mean, actually, is it? Hold on. Wretched.
Not necessarily.
Repugnant.
Repugnant might be a good one.
Oh wait.
All I can think of right now, Zix, is one of your favorite words. Cattywampus.
Catawampus.
Yep.
Am I using the word right here? Hold on. Anathema. Yeah, something or someone that one vehemently dislikes. A formal curse by a pope or a council of the church. Excommunicating a person or denouncing doctrine.
Anathema
It
might be good
I think
for
it's a little-
soul.
Yeah, I think that's too much of a word. That's like
Yeah.
not something everyone's gonna know.
Yeah. I mean, moribund, you know?
Yeah, but for me, I can see the root words for that. Mori bound.
Yeah.
Death bound.
Outcast. That's not strong enough, though.
Mm.
Repulsive. Reviled.
I think that's the best we're gonna get for now.
Oh.
I was thinking anathema would be better for soul. Because it's more like the world, the natural world is rejecting you.
Yeah. Hollowed, maybe?
That would
Hollowed
be a
is
good
good.
one.
That's a very good one.
Rather than hallowed. Hold on though.
Mm-hmm.
Doing this makes me want to come up with the opposite of this. If you breach the 10, you become a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you get some sort of buff because of it.
I see no problem there.
Incape. Body checks instantly. I think that these all do the same thing, and that is that these checks are instantly failed. You don't get to roll for them, period.
Yeah.
And they all probably also have like a secondary factor, right? Failed check, and then like body can't move. right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Can't move. Reviled. I don't know what that one's gonna be. How do I articulate this? Because in my mind, the catatonic debuff is like you can't retain anything. You can't learn anything new. You can't retain. You don't observe anything. It's as though you are blackout, right?
Hmm.
And I don't know how to like articulate that. Can't observe / learn. Maybe we leave this for now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, actually, hold on. This could be a cool chance to be sort of flipping the script a little bit. So, stat-wise, we talked about how body and personality are two sides of the same coin, and mind and soul are two sides of the same coin. With the stat drops, we could do it the other way around. So, your body and your mind have to work together. If one of them's not functioning, you're not going to be able to move. Like, you know what I mean? Personality and soul would be much the same. So what's the debuff that personality and soul have? Because it's how you interact. It's interesting because body and personality are how you interact externally with the world, right? But mind and soul are how you interact with the self. But soul and personality, in the instance that we're using them, would also be, in this instance, this is the one instance where that is flipped, right? Like, soul and personality are how you are going to be interacting with the world directly. What happens if the world rejects you? If, like, the natural order of things rejects you, what happens to you?
Immeasurably bad luck.
See, you bring that up.
Luck that will never kill you.
You know, you bring that up, and one of the things that I was contemplating is bonus optional bonus optional 5th and 6th stat of oh shit. I forgot this was here. Oh no. No. It'd be better to place this up here. Optional. Luck and sanity. Which would be...
Oh, yeah.
They don't govern skills, right? Like, they don't affect your other skills. But we could probably put in some things that they do affect independently. They affect, like, interactions within the game, right?
Sanity itself could fall under, like, a health stat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where you have hit points as physical health, sanity would be like mental health, as in Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, that's potential.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna leave it here for now, right? Because even with this, right, like, it might be rolled and done the same way as these, but your sanity stat serves as the hit points. And when you take a hit to your sanity just gets lower, right? And it's just that way. And then the only way to raise it is to figure out a way to raise it, right? Like within the game. But it won't naturally come back up. Go to therapy. Okay. I don't know. What is this? What does this do? I don't know what condition this would do in addition to automatically failing checks of the assorted variety.
Hunted.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, like everything in your turn seemingly turns everyone against you.
Yeah, I actually like it. Hunted. We'll figure out what that means later, but I like the idea. And it could be two different things. Personality is you were hunted by mankind, essentially.
And soul.
And soul is nature.
Nature or otherworldly entities.
Yeah. This is Eldritch horror shit right here.
I like that. Oh god, now I'm thinking of that song.
What song?
I Fucked Cthulhu.
Oh god. That's so funny. So then mathematically now, so we're doing a scale of 1 to 10. How do we do rolls? Is it 3d4 drop the lowest? That actually keeps pretty well with the 4d6 drop the lowest, right? That people do in D&D most time. You survived Hyrule Castle. Nice.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
I'll be here soon, Zix.
Good job, Raven.
And totaling the remainder. Do this. Five times, dropping the lowest result.
Your breath stings.
There you go. This no longer needs to be in a, No. There you go. An additional roll for each optional stat being used. So that way, you'll always have one extra roll, and you'll drop the lowest, and that's what people decide their stats off of. And does that work? Right? Like, roll a d4. We're gonna do 2. We're gonna do 3, right? That's a 7. That's a pretty good stat, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna be good. 6,
We
still
said
pretty
3D4,
good.
So 3D4 dropped the lowest.
Oh, you're right. Hold on. That actually, I'm dumb. The 3d4. So this would be 7.
It'll be 7.
Right? This is gonna be 6, so we're still good.
6.
5, we're still good.
Mhm.
6.
6.
7. 7.
7.
4. So this is our first negative that we would have had. 3. That's rough, buddy. I think this number works pretty good. I think you're gonna average. What's the average gonna be here?
5.
I can.
Would the average
Here.
be 5 mathematically?
The average on a D4 is 2.5. 3 if you round up.
Yeah.
Looking 3. Calculate. The average dice roll value for 3D4 is 7.5.
Yeah, I feel like that puts us in a pretty good spot. Oh, well, actually, with this, we wouldn't need the 3d4. We would need the 2d4. What's the average of 2d4? Because you're only counting 2 of the
Average
dice.
of 3D4 is 5.
Okay. So then that's what we want, ultimately. It hits that average.
Mhm.
I'll need someone more mathematically brained to do the point buy. I want a point buy system, though. Because point buy systems are good.
Need someone like Wildcard.
Ooh, if you for point buy, you can probably do the system similar to Shadowrun.
Okay.
I'll type an explanation for that. You keep going in the meantime.
Still have a lot to do in Tears of the Kingdom, but I've successfully completed one of the main missions. Nice.
It's Torture of the Koroks. It's Torture of the
bad.
Koroks.
My bad. Silly me. Is there anything else that we need to address about stat points?
Nothing's coming to mind. Well, you are in the minority, Raven. I tortured my Koroks.
I have minimally harmed the Koroks. Note that she didn't say she didn't harm the Koroks.
Ah, yeah. Everyone harms the Koroks. Whether that becomes torture or not is down to the individual.
Yeah, I think that that's good as far as stat points goes. And as such, I also think... Oh, we need to do proficiencies, right? That one's pretty easy to give.
God, I forgot how many
I don't want to call it proficiency.
attributes you start with in Shadowrun.
Proficiency.
Talent.
Skill, skillfulness, expertise, experience, ability, capability, capacity, competency.
I'm gonna say talent. You have specific talents and skills. Because proficiency is something that you are adept at. A talent is something that you are naturally better towards.
Aptitude might be a good one.
Aptitude. Ooh, that's not bad.
Ability is also just good, I think. Because ability is literally, are you able to do this thing, right? It's not factoring in for like a practice or anything. It's just like, are you capable of doing this thing? So ability and capability. Is ability just a shortened form of capability? Is that where that comes from?
Yes. Probably. Or capability came after. Because capable is also a word.
Yeah.
Here.
It was quite the initial wording on my part. No, I don't want to do ability points. I don't want to do ability points because I don't want to use the acronym AP. How Shadowrun stats are usually figured out. You have a base number of points you start with in each attribute, and you get a number of points to assign to the attributes. The points are determined by priorities.
Let me go actually grab table.
Ability scores. Ability.
I am back.
All right. So ability is what we're gonna go with. Competency. 'Cause I like a thing that I had in the original draft of my ideas, right? Was a scaling function, right? Where things could stack, right? Specifically for skills or abilities, right? And the idea being a lot of things had the clause of, I'm trying to remember what terms I used. I'm wanting to say that it was competency. It was like competency, expertise, and then mastery. Right? And so like if you had a trait that gave you competency with something, but you already had competency, it would instead give you expertise. If you already had expertise, it would instead give you mastery, right? And each of those is like, it gives you, what it does is it gives you the bonus a second time, right? I want to use expertise. Competency. No, I got it.
Yeah, it's an E. What got his person?
Gifted. Hold on. So, on point by start with a base for 2 for each attribute and assign a number of points split between those 4 attributes. Maybe 16 points here. If a race has a higher or lower maximum threshold, add or subtract 1 point from the base 2. Interesting. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, here's the question, right?
Mm-hmm.
My initial thought was it is a scale of 1, 2, 3, right? Because it's just an increasing scale. Part of me wonders if it should be 1, 2, 4.
Explain.
It doubles each time
Oh.
rather than just a cumulative, it's multiplicative.
Mm-hmm.
With mastery being the capstone of it, right? Like if you get proficiency with something, it can't go from mastered to something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Depends on how you look at it, but generally that's the idea. Because the way proficiency works in Pathfinder,
Mm-hmm.
you have trained, which would be competent,
Mm-hmm.
adept, master, and then legendary. Legendary being you're effectively a legend at that. That's
Yeah.
something you're not.
And I do want players to be able to have legendary feats. That's the thing. I think
If you want to do something legendary for it, save that instead of making it a proficiency thing.
yeah. Well, what I'm thinking is because I have plenty of skills, or I have plenty of ideas for things that it's like, oh, gain competency with an ability. If you were competent, instead become adept. If you were adept, instead become mastered, right? So they're like the intention there being you could have a level 1 character with mastery in a skill, right? Like you spent your whole life doing this one fucking thing, you know what I mean? And I like that idea. What if there is a tier beyond that is legendary, right? But it isn't attained with the normal if you would become instead become, right? It is only obtained with the use of like class features or character traits outside of that, right?
Right.
So it'd be locked behind higher levels. Probably class features, right? And in that case, right? If it is extremely restrictive with how you could do it, I would be fine with keeping the train of doubling things.
That's fair, yeah.
Because if you have +4, you're getting close to guaranteeing a success with a roll, right? Like,
yeah,
with our system of using 10 as the baseline, right? Or 5 as the baseline. A 4 is going to be a nutso bonus, right? I think that if you get an 8, it is almost guaranteed you're going to do whatever the thing is that you're trying to do, regardless, right? But I think that that's okay, especially if it's locked behind class levels or something. What do you think, Wildcard, as a math guy?
I think that would add up.
You ready to say something?
No, something just.
We have stats. We have our stat points, how they're decided. Our abilities and how they're decided. So here's the question. Do we do a D20 or a D10? I think we do a D20. I think D20s are just so ingrained with tabletops for skill checks. And I like the numbers of it, right?
Yeah.
I think we go with 20.
I think it would be good to test it with D10 and D20.
Yeah, consuming with playtest.
Okay. So, someone who has, let's say, a 10 in body, right? So he's gonna have a +5 to his body checks, right? Rolls. I'm gonna have you make a Constitution saving throw, right? You roll for Constitution. So you roll a D20. Roll a D20. Ooh. We're gonna re-roll that D20. 15. You rolled a 15. You're getting a +5, so you're at 20. Let's say that you were a master of Constitution. Alright? You have mastered Constitution, you get a +4. That becomes a 24. Now, if you have a 5 in body, and didn't get mastered, you roll a 15, it's just a 15. Or you lose. Could skills be able to have negative modifiers?
I think I would argue against that.
I think it's too complex. I think it adds in a layer that doesn't need to be added in.
Yeah.
All right. I think we end here, right? We've got ability scores, we've got ability checks, we've got stats, we've got the base stat numbers, we have all that stuff. We did a lot. I think we end the actual workshopping portion here, and we think about next time. Next time.
On Sixes.
On Sixes Stream Z.
Yeah. Well, my brain went next time on Game Votes.
Next time.
You're still at work.
Classes. Species. We want to do species or races? Is it what's like the better term? I'd say species actually is probably the best term.
Yeah, I mean that's what the 2024 rules in D&D are heading towards.
It just makes more sense. Okay. Because I want things to kick around, right? Race ideas, easy is going to be human, elf. What? Elf. Dwarf. Orc.
Yeah, the classics.
Halfling. Devil / angel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we can't use tiefling and we can't use ASMR, right?
Yeah.
Changeling, probably.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Human
an
elf
EA.
dwarf. Yeah. Changeling, automaton. Oh, I can't believe I spelled that right.
Hey, good job. Proud of
Human,
you.
elf, dwarf, orc, halfling, devil, angel, changeling, automaton.
You want to do the breed mechanic?
Furry, scaly, avian.
I think a general term could just be beastkin.
We'll go with animalkin, because I think beast tends to gravitate towards furry, right?
I guess.
When you think beast, you usually like. I think most people when they think beast think mammalian. You know.
Yeah,
That is
because I'm
fair.
thinking of the slime isekai, and they have lycanthropes and beastkin.
Yeah.
I don't know if beastkin is like an overarching term and lycanthrope is like the umbrella or different thing entirely.
Okay. Is there anything out of the like classic things that people would want that aren't in here? I don't think so.
Yeah, out of the classics,
actually,
I have tried.
Yeah. I think this is it. I think this is like all the classics. All right, class ideas. We obviously have to have like a warrior class, a mage, and a thief. Charmer, I guess.
Yeah. Well, let's like really stabilize. Are we doing modern fantasy, like urban fantasy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we would. It changes up to match the sort of.
Yeah. Caster. Oh, hold on. So, caster.
I would say, like, some. I feel like a class that fits each major
major thing.
Do we call them abilities? Stats. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One class for that primarily is like each stat, and then maybe not a handful, like a couple that
Are the
weirdly blend
combos?
some.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Met and caster.
But okay,
Technician. Diplomat. I don't know.
wait. I mean, this is for next time.
Yeah, this is like the idea of I'm gonna see this and I'm gonna be like, oh, body class, body class, soul class, mind class,
Precisely.
personality
Just
class.
put these down, and we can
Yeah.
touch them up later.
Yeah. And then I think what would happen, how many combinations are there here? So this is one with each is a primary, right? How many combinations?
お前はもう死んでいる。
I would
Hi, Nocturnal.
almost say
Hi.
Hi.
just bar the ability of fusing the stats that are like almost the exact opposite.
You think so? At least at base.
Yeah. Yeah.
The reason that I don't want to say that long term is because one of the classes that I think would fit really well into this is technomancers. And like
Yeah.
the fusing of magic and machine is just too cool
sorry.
to pass up.
Here's the thing. I will be the producer here and say, here's our scope.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what I'm saying is I don't want it to be a hard and fast rule. It's one of those things of it wouldn't be in the base 10. It would not be something that would be in the player's hand. It would be something that would be in an expansion, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if you do combatant, caster, technician, and diplomat, you have one of each of the 4, right? And then you have one that is soul, body, soul, personality, and then body, mind, body, personality. Well, we were saying don't have the opposites, right? So body, mind.
Yeah.
We
already have soul and body.
Personality,
personality and mind.
I think that's
That'd
it.
be the only one. Yeah.
That'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
A total
7,
of 8
base classes.
I just want to pull away all those mixed ones, actually.
Yeah, I think these are the 4 that we focus on, and
yeah,
if while coming up with these we hit some of this, that's when we make these. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think these are going to be a result of bleed over from these.
Yeah.
I think we make these 4 really tight. Like, and everything is based around what these guys do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this is what we'll do next time we do a stream on this. Hopefully some of you guys enjoyed this, talking about stuff like this. It's a bit of a weird stream. But yeah. That's a stream. So we're gonna find someone to raid now.
Alright.
You got to do the yapping about something you like.
I did get to do the yapping about a thing that I like.
Everybody shut up, I pulled a 5-star in Star Rail.
No way.
Who is it?
Yeah, it's Yunli's light card.
Damn.
Sweet.
Hell yeah.
Wait, no, you wanted that, right?
Yes.
You wanted Yunli's light card. My brain went Yanche's light cone, and I was like, damn.
I already have that. Alright.
Now you tell that's how we are in this house. We get 5 stars, everyone shuts up, nothing is more important.
I mean, I interrupted everybody earlier. I got a 5-star in CZZ.
Exactly. Nothing is more important than pulling a 5-star.
Yeah, they were playing against it, and I was like, look, thing.
And it was before soft pity. I pulled it at 62.
Oh. If only I had that kind of luck.
I still can't believe I got another 5-star so early in Genshin.
Let's see. Who do we want to
Listen,
raid?
Raven. Yep. Listen, Raven. That may have seemed rude. I mean, it really was kind of rude. But
It's normal for us.
you do not want me to say the actual quote that I take that from. It is a Ninja Sex Party song. And those who know, they know.
Do any of you guys have a raid recommendation?
Really?
Let me see.
Song.
And I need to do my ZZZ dailies.
Oh, what is playing?
There's like no one on.
What is playing Yakuza?
Yeah, but I'm wanting to avoid that because I'm probably playing at some point. Ooh, we have a Teamfight Tactics player.
We need to get back into that.
Sixon literally talked about getting back into it several times recently. Haven't you, Dex?
I have.
I know he has.
Yeah, you were there for most of
That's,
it.
I mean,
not all.
I gave him specific, like, terms
this
for me
person?
to stop playing. Yeah, I gave him specific terms to make me stop playing because I knew I would get really deep into it.
Oh my god.
And
Which
then once
mobile
I-
fucking sucks. I'm sorry.
What happened?
Sure.
I can't with Twitch mobile right now. I'm trying to find like my streamers that I have, but I don't know.
It's not
The
good.
table's cursed.
Twitch mobiles you don't use to find people. You use it when you know someone is live. You can just type in their name into the bar.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
awful.
you know what? Yeah. Good category for next time?
What?
Software and game development.
Actually, fair.
Man, I didn't even think about that.
I only just realized it because
Because Thor's doing it.
Pirates Software. Yeah.
Do we want to
Maybe
raid
you just
Thor?
raid- Yeah, I was about to say, maybe you just raid Thor.
We just raid Thor. It's just that easy.
Why do they exist? Because you need somebody that is the tiebreaker. You can use a board. You can.
Yeah, we raid Thor. Thor's too cool to not raid.
He is.
Oh god, he's got 10,000 people in there. All right,
He's a big one.
Here's our raid message. Here's our other raid message if you don't have the emotes. If you're not following Thor, go follow Thor. Because he's unfathomably based. He has some fucking great takes on shit. And he's just a really cool game dev. Yeah, go show tons and tons of love to Thor at Pirate Software. Thank you guys for being here. I will see you tomorrow night. I'm not sure what we're gonna be doing. Maybe Persona? Maybe Breath of the Wild? I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do. We're gonna do the absolute hell out of it. Maybe some Minecrafts? I don't know. But until we see you again, I like to end the stream the same way every day. That is my advice to you. And my advice to you is this. Tell your loved ones you love them. Be the best version of yourself that you can be. And try and make the world a better place in your own way each day. Love you guys. Bye-bye.